All right, it's Tuesday morning. We are live. We've got Tokyo Brandon back. Bryan and I cashed a parlay to start the week. It's a great start. We're off to a flying start this week. Happy to have the three-man weave back here, if you will. It's Tuesday morning. We got a full slate of MLB games, and I'm excited to break them down with Bryan Leonard, Tokyo Brandon. We're on WagerTalk TV, your one-stop shop for Major League Baseball free picks. For the next hour, we'll be going off of the comments in the chat, and no time to mess around today. We've got 15 games. I want to get right into it, and the logical starting point for me, I feel like for today and probably tomorrow as well, is going to be out west. Dodgers Padres, what's becoming a budding rivalry. It was always Dodgers Giants, but I think you look at like the last 5 years, Dodgers Padres has been as good, if not better. And we'll have another one tonight. Bryan Leonard, in what maybe is a game where you might expect some runs. You've got another bullpen game, maybe type game for the Dodgers. At least Sauer might be the opener. But it's Randy Vasquez for the Padres, who is certainly not prone to giving up some crooked numbers. So I've got Colin Gregory in the chat saying Dodgers team total over. Are you seeing runs out west tonight, Bryan?
Well, I saw runs out west yesterday. That was one of my three plays, and we ended up pushing on a game that I thought we were going to easily win. It's baseball. It happens, especially late in the game when you've got some bullpen guys in there. But the line's gone up basically a full run, a half a run from yesterday. And the reason is because, unfortunately, Randy Vasquez is on the mound. Having one of his better years, though, 3.57 ERA. But his expected ERA is 5.91. Last 2 years, his expected ERA 5.91, 6.04, or 5.94, excuse me. Having trouble seeing this early in the morning. I just rolled out of bed. Partially because of this game last night. There's a lot of good things to watch. Yeah, he hasn't done very well. You look it over his Savant page. Expected ERA, 4th percentile, whiff, second. Strikeout second. In his career, his strikeout to walk ratio has been 6. This year, it's only 2. Either way, not a guy you're looking to fade or looking to back. And as you mentioned, the Dodgers are probably going to have a bullpen game today, but their bullpen isn't in the greatest shape. So that might be a situation to look at. I'm with you. First thing I look at on this game is the over. We'll have to see. Two things today. The best part is everything's on the evening card. We got plenty of time to research all this and make sure that we get our bets in at best number. Also, there's a lot of rain today, and we've talked about that in the past. Anytime there's a lot of rain and you put a bet on, like say you want to play the Cubs today with, or not the Cubs, just somebody with a elite arm on the line. Robbie Ray, let's say, for San Francisco, although they don't have any weather problems there. But let's just say he's a really good advantage in the starting pitchers category there. So if he gets into the second or third inning and they get a rain delay of an hour, he won't be back again. So just keep that in mind today because there is a lot of rain. I'm seeing upwards of 70% rain. It's when the games are supposed to go off at some of these places. So we'll have to play it by ear.
Dodgers pitcher not decided, so they're going to do a bullpen game. I think the Padres are. Before I get into the game, guys, did you check my Twitter, Tokyo _ Brandon? I went to a Japanese liquor shop today. This is the best alcohol I've ever had. Do you know what a lychee is? It's like a Chinese grape. This is lychee milk liquor, and then I got some blueberry liquor too. Oh man, so good. Anyway, sorry.
Where are you?
I'm on vacation.
Where are you?
I'm in the mountains of central Japan. Like I'm visiting my in-laws. They live in the boonies. Drove around and I ate some eel. Pictures of that on my Twitter. Pretty good stuff. It was really cool. Anyways, I know it's not a commonly eaten item in the U.S. Never had it until I came out here, by the way. But Randy Vasquez, yeah, he's not reliable at all. He's actually quite bad. Never ever has real clean innings, but actually his last 2 starts, he's come out early. He hasn't finished 5 innings, but he hasn't given up more than 1 run either in his last 2 starts against Milwaukee and the Dodgers. He doesn't have the worst numbers against the Dodgers, and Dodgers bullpen is suffering a little bit right now. They're so desperate they had to put Ohtani out for an inning yesterday. I don't know. I got the Padres hitting better than the Dodgers right now, and I got their bullpen ranked better. So I might take a flyer on the Padres here. I'm probably not going to be an official play, but I think Padres are playing a little better, and I think they're probably a little ticked off that they didn't win the game yesterday with the better pitching situation. So I might go with the Padres, but don't know if I'll play it.
I was just commenting on your tweets. That food looks incredible. I mean, I'd rather eat that than some of the processed garbage that we have in this country that we eat
pretty
all
good
the time.
Food in Japan.
So I was gonna say it looks fantastic. I'm with you. I'm with you, Tokyo Brandon. I see value even with Randy Vasquez, a guy that I have not been high on, and again, this might be the reason it doesn't end up on the client card because I don't know how much I trust him, especially given the fact that the Dodgers just saw him and he kind of pitched well. I do see value on the Padres. You could get +1.5. I think it was -110, +1.5 with the Padres before I came on the show. This is a national TV game. I believe TBS has this one at 10 o'clock. I kind of feel like the Padres are going to be in this regardless. Maybe that lends it. Maybe it means it's one of those back and forth games with some runs. Because again, the Dodgers are they're okay with doing this bulk innings type deal. And they've got a lot of guys that they've sort of trust in this bulk innings role. Kasparius was the one we talked about yesterday. He was okay. But I look at this and say, okay, you're going to have a bulk guy for the Dodgers. It's going to be probably, one of their guys to open. You don't think the Padres can generate some offense off that? I kind of do. So I think I'd be down to take the 1.5 with the Padres in what is probably a competitive game. And then if it does get into the high leverage arms in the bullpen, I think the Padres have an advantage. So Padres +1.5 is the way I think I would look in that one. Chad, before we move on, Chad makes a good point. You're not worried about the 5 lefties in the Dodgers lineup against Vasquez, a dude that wakes up and gives up 5 runs to lefties. Yeah, I guess it is a concern. Do you want to comment on that at all, Brian? Would you gravitate more toward the over because of that?
Yeah. And it's not something I play. I know Ralph Michaels is the king of the first inning scoring runs or not. You would think the first inning would be a great opportunity to score runs. Vasquez coming in and the bullpen guy for the Dodgers. And you mentioned Kasparius, the guy's really good. And because he pitched yesterday, he probably won't. He's not going to pitch today. So they may use some of their lesser guys in the bullpen in this game. So yeah, runs can be scored here, and they may be scored early.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one to watch. And I think my strongest lean there is probably with TB, and I think I'd play the +1.5. All right, Colin Gregory, Pirates money line, just to piss off Sean. I haven't seen Sean in here yet today.
He's here.
I know. He is. Okay. So shout out to Sean. We're just joking. Listen, the Tigers are still a really, really good team. I think this is an example of kind of what I was trying to get at before that White Sox series, where you're now asking the Tigers to have to beat a pretty premium number day in and day out. And if you go back to the beginning of the White Sox series, which was June 2nd, you've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. The Tigers, it looks like by my quick math here, are 7-6. Yet it feels like they've been a pretty either substantial favorite, or you were laying a maybe small juice in a spot that was like a pretty competitive spot in every one of those games. So I think where I've been called a Tigers hater, Brian Leonard, I think I was just a hater more of the value, the price point where this team was at. And I don't like the Tigers price point again today. So
yeah, you're not a Tigers hater. You're sensible about the whole thing. Your fandom can only take you so far. If you're going to bet for a living, you can't be a fan. which is part of the reasons why it sucks is because you still like to root for your favorite teams. And I do. I root for Cleveland any chance I get, but if I've got to bet, chances are it's going to be against Cleveland because I know that team better than anybody else. So we are all, anybody who is watching the show and realizes that we're all looking for value. You're gonna love a team one day and hate the team the next day based on what kind of line you get. Bailey Falter's been pitching pretty well as of late. 3.36 ERA, 3.57 expected, 1.12 WHIP. That's a solid season so far from him. The extension's in the 96th percentile, which really helps, but he's not a strikeout guy. Only the 2nd percentile in whiff, 6% in strikeout rate. He's only got a 7.0 strikeout minus walk ratio in this one. And we got Casey Mize going for Detroit. Mize having a pretty good season, 2.95 ERA, 3.21 expected, 1.28 whip. He's always had problems with his whip. His career whip is 1.30. He'll get that down as he matures a little bit. But I've been pretty impressed by Casey Mize. I, like a lot of people, I think might have written him off coming into this season. Last year he was 2-6, 1.47 whip. But he's put it all together this year. He's been a pretty good pitcher. Both of these guys have done a pretty good job here. When I take a look at the current line, we're seeing Detroit about a 190 favorite and 8.5. 190 is a little bit high. Detroit is playing a lefty, and so far this season, Detroit's ranked against lefties 123 WRC plus. Want to play Detroit, but the line is probably 30 cents more than I want to lay, so I will be passing on this one at this point.
Looking at the matchup just overall, seems like we got two teams that are struggling to hit the ball, especially the Pirates. I got them ranked 29 out of 30 teams in current form, but they got a great bullpen. Their bullpen is ranked 5. So whenever I see that, my inclination is to look at the under first. So let's take a look at starting pitching. Well, I got both of these guys kind of ranked around 15 for both of them on a curve of 30. So we got mediocre pitchers, 2 pretty good bullpens, and then 2 lines that aren't producing right now. So I would look to do either team total under. If one of these teams is 4.5, then definitely a team total under. And looking at it, looks like Detroit is under 4.5 right now at minus 109. Oh, I'll make that my parlay leg here. I'm going to take Detroit under 4.5. I'm not a huge Falter fan, but just Detroit's really not. I mean, I can't really say many bad things about this team. They have the best record in MLB, but they're not doing it by like beating teams 14-2, right? They're more like they're just a well-run team, and they just squeeze teams, and they're like a boa constrictor. They just choke them out, right? So I think Detroit under 4.5 is a good bet on this one. So I'll make that my parlay leg at minus 109. But I like the full game under is also something I might do. But rather than that, I don't think Detroit's going to score 5 here. So
Current consensus line on that is minus 118, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say minus 115 to minus 120 range.
I'm looking at Pinnacle. I know people in America can't use Pinnacle, but I usually use that. But yeah, okay, fair enough.
I see. I was going to say I think Detroit Tigers team total under 4.5. Anything in the minus 115 to minus 120 range, I see is pretty much standard. I'd be inclined to agree with you, Tokyo Brandon. I said this from the beginning of the year. The Tigers came out and said we're in spring training. If you listen to them in spring training, they built this team on pitching and defense. It was always the MO of this team. This was never supposed to be a team that went out and won games 10-9. They were going to lean in to pitching and defense. And, I think through the first 2 months of the season, the Tigers probably even surprised themselves with how good they hit the ball. Because if you recall, first week of the season, they panicked a little bit and called up Justin Henry Malloy because they were like, oh no, this lineup's not very good. We need some juice in the lineup. And he was actually left off the opening day roster. And the reason he was left off the opening day roster was they wanted to go pitching and defense. So I'm with you. I think the Tigers are going to play a lot of low-scoring games going forward. They have a tremendous bullpen. The pitching is excellent. AJ Hinch pushes all the right buttons. So, yeah, you're going to see them win games 3-2, 2-1, 4-2. That's going to be your typical Tigers win. The Pirates, on the other hand, like you said, tremendous bullpen. They've really figured out the people they want in certain situations. Bednar's been great ever since his early season blow up. The starting pitching's been good, and the Pirates are just playing better baseball. Something I've noticed with the Pirates, like they're actually playing, like they make plays now. Like they were giving away. Brian, what's the stat for like giving runs away? Because they had to be in last in the league for a while, and just like they would just give runs away on errors and mistakes. I know there's a metric to measure it, but
probably called runs
Runs
allowed, maybe.
There was a time where they were far and away the worst team in the league at that. I've been watching them. The defense has been better. It's just been they don't run themselves in the outs on the bases as much anymore. But TB, you're right. They're still, that whole Cubs series, great pitching in that whole Cubs series, but they still do struggle to generate offense. So I kind of am with you. I like Pirates plus 1.5, and I see it under as well. Go ahead, TB.
Let me make one statement here. I said probably one of our first shows together that I said the Rockies are going to have the worst record in MLB, worse than the White Sox. I'm going to make another prognostication. Is that the right word? The Reds are going to finish with a better record than the Tigers this season. That's my prognostication. I'm not not a proctolocation, but a prognostication. I think the Reds will finish better. I think the Reds are just a better team than the Tigers, in my opinion.
I do want to point out, and I forgot in my analysis, everybody in the American League Central, all the teams are on a losing streak of 2 games or more. How often do you see that?
Not often.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And then I was going to just point out, Ethan makes a good comment. Best way to fade the Tigers is on the run line. I agree. And that's what I would like here. Pirates plus 1.5. The Tigers have, they've been vulnerable in the laying the 1.5. Some of that has to do with the fact that they just grind out low scoring, close wins. So I'm with you, Ethan, and that's how I would play here. And that's Pirates plus 1.5. Minus 125, I think, is about fair, but certainly getting my attention a little bit. Birdhorse says that's a hot take. Listen, baseball's a long season. There is a lot of season left. The Reds might have as much upside as any team that hasn't realized their upside yet. I don't know if I said that correctly, but the point is that was a team making a lot of mistakes, not hitting with runners in scoring position. It's possible that they figure it out, and maybe he's right about that. So transition here, segue, if you will, to Brian Leonard. Chad Picard says, can we talk about Twins Reds? Of course we can, Chad. He says, I want to be on the Reds bad with Abbott at home. Brian Leonard, what do you think?
I'm with you. I'm going to end up playing. Let's get to that in a second. I'm surprised by this line here. Abbott's basically about a 118 favorite, 8.5 to the over. Heavily gone to the over. I mean, you've seen some 9s out there to the under in this one. Minnesota at Cincinnati. 2 of the guys I like on the mound. David Festa is a guy who has all the talent in the world, but he hasn't been able to go the 5 innings. He's had 5 starts this year. He's got 22.2 innings pitched. He seems to be having a lot of problems the third time around the lineup, and they try to get him out of there. But he did look better in his last start. He comes in with a 4.76 ERA, 5.37 expected, 1.32 whip, which is too high. His extension's in the 92nd percentile, a whiff percentage, 71st percentile, strikeout rate, 73rd. But he does get hit hard. Expected ERA, 8th percentile, ground ball rate, 8th percentile, which would kill him in this stadium. Barrel rate, 11th percentile. So I like David Festa. This is not the place you want to throw a guy who can't get the ground balls, and he hasn't pitched long in these games. So I even though I like David Festa, this is not the right time to play him. Andrew Abbott, 6-1 on the season, 1.87 ERA, 3.02 expected. Yeah, he's been a little bit lucky, but still with the expected 3.02, you can tell he's been a very good pitcher. Whip 0.97. You take a look at his StatCast information, and his ground ball rate is very similar. He's in the 5th percentile in ground ball rate, but he doesn't give up home runs in this building. It's something. It's not just this year; it's his entire career in Cincinnati. Many times I just blindly, mathematically play against him because of that, assuming it's going to happen. And then we know what they say about the assuming. He's cost me some money over the years. I've given up on that. He's just one of those guys that's an outlier in that regard. He doesn't really walk players, 8.2%, which is a little bit less than league average. So he's a guy that limits the hard hit, 95th percentile, average exit velocity, 85th percentile. I like Cincinnati here. I'm going to use the Reds. We'll just make it simple. I will just use the Reds as my parlay for the entire game. Current lines probably the 118. I would guess is probably the consensus right now. That'll be it. Festa, Abbott, and Minnesota's been okay versus lefties. Nothing terrific. So give me Cincinnati playing at home.
It's Festivus for the rest of us today, and we got Abbott on the mound for the Reds. Festivus, look at his numbers. Not the greatest, but he does pass the eye test. You look at his away ERA, and it's 19. But yeah, that's only 3 innings, so you can't really make much of that. But man, Twins are a bad road team. The Reds are a fairly good home team, but Abbott. I mean, you can say all you want that ERAs, and Bryan and I have talked about this. We agree that ERA is not the say all be all statistic for pitchers. But if you have a sub 2 ERA and you have 8 decisions in your starts, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty good. If this guy played for the Yankees, they'd be talking about the Cy Young Award. But he plays for the Reds, and nobody's ever heard of him, so nobody mentions it. But he's just like the Cameron guy for the Royals, or the Henderson guy who they stupidly sent down to the minors. So, in any case, the Reds I think have pretty good advantages here, and the fact that Abbott is 7-1. I mean, if you think that if you think the Reds are going to win this, why not just put a little flyer on Abbott to get the win? It's plus 185. It's huge value there. Abbott to get the win, I think, would be a good bet on this one. Or you could do Reds on the money line. You could do. I mean, it's a good number, right? It's only minus 115 or something. I don't know. The Twins are a bad road team, and they have this subpar pitcher, and their bullpen's not performing. Twins are supposed to have the one of the best bullpens out there, and they're not. They're not hitting either. So, I like Abbott for the win, plus 185. I think it's a good bet to put a 1 or 1.5% play on.
Yeah, I think my only issue with anything Abbott sort of correlated right now is I feel like there has to be some regression at some point. I mean, his numbers are insane, and he just threw a complete game against the Guardians last week. I know they really pushed him I was on that game. I know they really pushed him in the 9th inning of that game. So, is he going to fatigue at all? I mean, he's been tremendous. That being said, I can't really disagree with Bryan liking the Reds or with you guys liking the Reds here, because I could see Festa potentially getting hit here. I've watched a lot. So interesting story about David Festa he was supposed to be a shortstop. He was a shortstop. He was committed to a D3 school. He pitched randomly for a team that needed a pitcher, and then he pitched some his senior year, and they convinced him to walk on at Seton Hall. And that's how he became a pitcher. He was supposed to go to D3 school to be a shortstop. They convinced him to come pitch at Seton Hall as a walk-on, and now he's in the big leagues as a pitcher. So awesome story. I followed him along the way. I've always felt like he's got the potential, but the problem, and I've said this on this show before, he will, when he gets guys on base, which he will put guys on base, he's got decent chase stuff, but he'll throw some walks in there. He starts to get cute with guys on base, meaning he either wants to nibble and walk someone, or he'll groove one right over the plate. And I feel like you can't do that against this Reds team, really. Like, they will make you pay for that. So I kind of lean toward the over here. And again, I'm not like overly confident because Andrew Abbott has been so good, but I do think you have to look for Abbott to regress at some point. I just don't think he can keep this up. So I'll say I kind of lean with the Reds because I think they're going to generate some offense here, but I also kind of like the over. Go ahead, Brian.
His expected ERA in all 3 seasons of his career is higher than his ERA. So
is that Abbott, Brian?
Yeah. This is something that's gone on for 3 years. It's slightly more pronounced this year, but still, I don't know. I guess I'm a math guy too, and you would think it would happen, but sometimes there's just certain guys that come around and they do it. There's the GM, I believe, of Kansas City. He was that kind of pitcher where he would come out and he would always had better numbers than what he was expected. Look at Lugo. Look at some of these other guys that don't really have that impressive. Lugo throws like 8 or 9 pitches, but they come, and every once in a while it comes around where it just doesn't work out that way. Maybe if he has a 15-year career, we'll see it later on. Right now, I'm not betting against it.
Go ahead, TB.
No, nothing. I'm just scratching my nose.
All right. Yeah. I want to add one more thing. I guess my rationale for the over, but like, because what Brian said is accurate, and I have nothing to go on that other than my gut. My gut saying, okay, the numbers are insanely good. There has to be a little bit of regression. He just threw a complete game. He threw a lot of pitches. Like, my gut is saying maybe there's a bad one coming in the future, but I have no other reason to go off of that. That being said, I could see the Reds putting a crooked number or 2 on Festa, which says, okay, maybe I'll get something from the Twins here, but I think I'm going to get enough from the Reds where the over is a viable option. Go ahead, Brian.
Just made me think of something that had to do with Brandon's play. Because he did throw so many pitches his last time out, they may not let him go as long in this game, which is probably why that number is so great, because my eyes popped out of my head when I heard that number. So maybe that's what they're thinking. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. If he goes 5 innings, I think he's going to get the victory.
All right, let's move on here. There's a couple people in the chat that want to talk Jays, Diamondbacks. Jonathan says, do we like the over 8.5? D-backs, Blue Jays, and there's a whole slew of people that want to talk this game. So I'll send it right over to Brian Leonard. Blue Jays back in town after a sweep. They get the D-backs tonight. How are you seeing this one?
Yeah, fought going against Bassett in this one. Current line, let's take a look at that. It looks to be Toronto minus 118, 119. At 8.5 over 25 or 9 under 20. 2 teams that are pretty good hitting teams. I've got some major concerns with Arizona. Brandon Pfaadt is a guy who, when he was a minor leaguer, the guy could blow people away with his fastball. He was just a big strikeout man, and he struggled with his control. And in the majors, he's got so far 64 starts in Major League Baseball. Comes in with a 5.15 ERA, 1.32 WHIP. Now I know this is a pretty good hitter's ballpark. But this year he's got an expected ERA of 7.22. He just has not been good. Look at, you always talk about the extremes. He's on the extreme in Major League pitching. His expected ERA, first percentile. Expected batting average, first percentile. Average exit velocity, first percentile. Hard hit rate, first. Barrel rate, third. He's just been getting bombed. I thought he was a better pitcher in this when he was coming up, because he was one of their guys that they really promoted and really talked about. And then when he made the team, that was a big deal that he was able to make the team and get in. We were thinking he was going to strike out 10 guys per game if he played with a complete game. But he hasn't been that guy. And now you're talking about a guy that is highly promoted, and he hasn't done anything in the majors. It's just something right now that you've got to look to play against. Chris Bassett, the veteran, been around for 11 seasons. He comes in with a 3.7 ERA, 3.57 expected, 1.31 WHIP, a little bit high, but his numbers are good. He average exit velocity 89th percentile, walk rate 86th, hard hit rate 83rd. That's what I like, guys who don't put batters on base via the walk, and guys that keep them off balance. I take a look at this game, and I wonder why Toronto is only a 120 favorite in that range. Either play, if you like the over and you like Toronto and you hate Fott, why not play the Toronto team total over? That makes a lot of sense to me also. That is currently 4.5 to the under 30. So you're going to get, if they score 5 runs, you get plus money back, plus 110 on the over there. And I think that can happen. Yeah, that's something I like here. I like Toronto. I like the over. Combine it, play Toronto team total over.
I'm pretty much on the same page with Bryan. I've never liked Fott, actually, never. And he's just so inconsistent. If you look at his last runs allowed in his last 4 or 5 or 6 starts, he's allowed 2, 6, 8, 3, 3, 4, and then the start before that against the best hitting team in Major League Baseball, the Dodgers, he pitched 6 and 1/3 inning and he shut them out. So how inconsistent is this guy? Hate betting him, hate betting against him. And the Diamondbacks bullpen, who I've been ragging all season, are actually playing a little bit better now. I have them ranked 17, so they've come out of the 20s. So they're coming around a little bit. But overall, I have the Jays a better team. They're hitting lacking a little bit. Arizona's hitting is right around 7. But the Jays have slightly better bullpen. I really don't like betting Bassett either. I used to like doing his outs over, but I project him under the 17.5 that he is today. So if anything, I kind of agree with Bryan, maybe a Blue Jays team total. But overall, I'm not going to bet the game because Brendan Pfaadt always screws me. So I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can explain why he's inconsistent. It kind of goes back to what Bryan said. He's really a one-trick pony at this point. Like, he has a fastball. That's it. He's got a fastball, and with a plus fastball, you can get to the majors. We've seen it a million times. He doesn't have anything else to get guys out with. So if he runs into a day where the fastball is working and he's up against a lineup that's just not squaring it up for whatever reason or hitting it at fielders, he's going to have an okay day because he doesn't walk anyone. His command of the fastball is pretty good. He just doesn't have anything else to get guys out with. He doesn't get really, nothing else is getting guys out. So the longer he's in the big leagues and he only has that pitch, the more likely it is that he's going to start getting blown up because it doesn't take this league very long to figure a guy out. Chad Picard says, well, D-backs team total over and D-backs money line for him, all these lefties against Bassett. I mean, I agree with overs as well. I'm definitely more toward the side of fading Fott, so I agree with what Bryan's saying, a Blue Jays team total, and I would lean toward the Blue Jays here, but he makes a good point. We might see some offense out of the Diamondbacks. That I agree with him too. The Diamondbacks bullpen scares me or scares him. It would scare me as well. And the Jays kind of had a day off to regroup and rest what I consider to be a pretty good bullpen. So hard to disagree with what the guys on the panel have said. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's runs here. Go ahead, Bryan.
Yeah, I just want to point out, I went back to check this year. He does struggle more against lefties. He's faced more lefties than he has righties. 1.51 whip versus lefties again, and 1.11 against righties. So yeah, he's got a good point. They have he has struggled a little bit more versus lefties, but still like that side. And yeah, you're right. The maybe a lot of runs in this game.
What is is this at 9 for a total right now?
Currently, we're looking. We're looking at 9 to the under -120 or 8.5 to the over at -125.
All right, let's we'll see where the rest of the show goes. I want to see. I think we lost Tokyo Brandon to the Japanese mountains for a minute, so we'll see if we get him back in the meantime. But we did get his parlay leg, so we're good to go there. If you're tuning in late, couple things. Please please subscribe. We very much appreciate it. Need all the likes and subscribes in the comments we can get on the show. And I'll do the quick promo. It is $5 Tuesday at WagerTalk. I do have a 4%er already up for $5. I'm sure, Brian, do you have anything up as already for $5 Tuesday?
I do have a 4% play up in baseball, and I'll be adding probably 3 others for anybody who's going to buy the daily package or for long-term clients.
Yeah, I typically don't have plays up this early, but there was one I liked, and I'm on a pretty good run right now, 9-1, my last 10 MLB plays. I need that form to carry over to Korea with me. I can't seem to get a win over in Korea, but I'm winning them in MLB. I think I'll take that, though. I feel like if that's a reasonable trade-off. I think the hardest market to beat of the baseball markets is, of course, Major League Baseball. The books they're just on point a lot of times. But yeah, go ahead, Brian.
I just wanted to point out that Tokyo Brandon is on vacation. He's obviously at his mother-in-law's house, and you notice he dresses slightly different when he's in-laws.
Yeah, it was good. So he doesn't roll in with the he's back.
Yeah.
We got
He dressed like that. I'm not sure when they met that they would let him marry him. We were just talking about you.
Guys,
we were just talking about
like
you and your outfit today at the in-laws' house, and how it's different than what you normally wear.
Sorry, I got dropped. I think my internet cut out for a minute. Are we back?
We're
back. You haven't missed anything. We were just begging for the likes and subscribes as we typically do, and I informed everyone that it is $5 Tuesday at WagerTalk. And Bryan Leonard said he thinks your attire is a little bit more tame when you go to the in-laws. Is there anything to that?
Yes. I just wrote in the chat, I can't wear gold teeth and fur when I'm in the mountains of Japan. So I think I might freak out some old ladies and give them a heart attack or something. So I saved that for the city life. Yeah. And also I don't bring my whole wardrobe with me when I travel. So I dressed like this today when I went to the liquor store and the eel restaurant. But yeah.
I can't. That food looked incredible. I don't even think we can get. I even if I wanted like that type of quality Japanese food, I don't think we could get it in Central New York. I'd have to. Maybe Syracuse has a spot, but now that's what I want to eat. I saw your post. I'm like, I got to get like Asian food this week at some point.
And a lot of people, they said, oh, it's unagi. They use the Japanese word for it. So maybe unagi is like a thing in America. Maybe it's a Japanese borrowed word or something for the delicacy or something. I don't know. Anyways, I'm back.
All right.
Little mellower wardrobe. So yeah. I've been drinking this for about 2 hours. So
listen, hey, you're on vacation and you're taking the time out to do a show. You're more than welcome to do whatever you want. We appreciate you being back here. I really do feel like this show is at its best when there's 3 of us, 3 different opinions and ways to look at games. And for the next 21 minutes, we're going to keep doing that. And we'll also find a third parlay leg. Let's go back to Chad. He said he had Phillies money line yesterday. I was kicking myself. I talked about it on the show, and then I kind of bitched out, as they say, on a little bit of movement that I didn't like. Mick Abel was solid as I expected. The Phillies ended up winning that game. So kicking myself for leaving that off the card. He says he's going with Marlins plus 1.5 today. Got it at plus 105. Interesting. I don't know if this is the spot I would play the Marlins, but listen, a plus 1.5 at plus 105. There's definitely some value there. So we'll go Bryan Leonard, or we'll go Bryan in Tokyo. We'll keep our order, even though our screen is off the usual order. Bryan Leonard, Marlins, Phillies.
Take me down and put me back, and I'll be in the middle probably.
That's all right. Go ahead, Brian.
Right.
Marlins, Phillies. We'll roll with it like this. Oh, KTB left. Go ahead, Brian.
Jesus Luzardo going for the Phillies. He had a rough patch of a couple bad starts, but he's back on track. He looked really good last time. 4.23 ERA, 3.40 expected, so he's pitched better than his numbers show. Still got that 1.40 whip. That is a concern. Strikeout minus walk ratio, he's up 20.5, which is outstanding. Doesn't have any extension, only 7th percentile, but everything else works for him. We know what he can do. He's a hell of a pitcher when he's healthy. Cal Quantrill is a veteran, been around a long time. We also know about him. He's pitched 778 innings in his career. And to be honest with you, for him to get 7 seasons, good for him, because he's never been more than just maybe a 4th or 5th starter at best. His numbers are not good. 5.61 ERA, 5.20 expected, 150 on the whip. That's not good. And unlike his opposition on the mound, he's not the big of a strikeout guy. He's got a 10.5 strikeout minus walk ratio. He's an innings eater, and he's a guy that nobody seems to want to bet on him. But he's 46 and 41. If you take a look at his win-loss in his career, he doesn't do anything especially well. It's a clear advantage for Philadelphia in this game from a starting pitcher standpoint. Miami versus lefties, they've been pretty decent, I guess. They're ranked 14th at a 90 in Fangraphs stats. So they've done a little bit better versus lefties, but he's a lefty that they probably will struggle with. And very similar to another series that I talked about earlier was when Miami, Washington, Colorado, those teams get together. They can relax, score some runs. That was part of our winning parlay yesterday. Now they got to come back and play these top-of-the-line pitchers that Philadelphia has. I would expect Miami to struggle a little bit offensively. So maybe Miami, team total under, something like that, or Philadelphia. I wouldn't have any problem either way. You're still laying, 175, 180, though, if you're playing them on the road.
As they said in the Brady Bunch, Mom always said, don't bet against Jesus. No, I think it was don't play ball in the house was Bobby's bad day there. But anyways, you all know what I'm talking about probably. But don't bet against Jesus, and don't bet against Jesus today either. But rather than a side, there's a prop that I kind of like here. I looked at DraftKings, and Cal Quantrill's outs recorded prop was 15.5, which means he has to record an out in the 6th inning. Generally, when I look at these outs props, the way I approach it is, how does this pitcher, well, first of all, generally, does the pitcher pitch deep? How many pitches is the manager letting him make? Like, a lot of pitchers come out at 80, 82, but other pitchers will go 100, 95, 98. Cal Quantrill does not throw a lot of balls, and he generally gets tagged by these batters, which put 2 and 2 together tells me that he's probably not going to go into the 6th inning. Even without Bryce Harper, Phillies are still a talented lineup. And even though they're not really performing very well right now, that's my only reservation about the play is Phillies bats are not exactly crushing right now, but they're still talented, and his history against them is not very good. So I don't think Cal Quantrill is going to get an out. So under 15.5 outs for Cal Quantrill is a free play. I gave it to my clients before the show.
Yeah, Mr. Finn says, I agree Marlins might get to him. He's been off. And that is, there's some truth to that. Those 2 starts, and when he, meaning Luzardo, those 2 starts against the Brewers and the Blue Jays, like, I don't even know how you explain that, to be honest. 12 runs and 8 earned runs. I mean, when you look at what he's done to that point, and then like you look at what he did last time out against the Cubs, goes 6 innings of 1-run ball with 10 strikeouts, like, and what he's been for the majority of his career, like, how do you even explain the 20 earned runs across 2 starts? I'd be inclined to think he's sort of back in his groove. Brian Leonard, are you in agreement there?
I can explain it. He mentioned it in an interview that they found out he was tipping his pitches. So we had 2 games where he was tipping his pitches. He changed that up, and then he was back to where he was beforehand. So you could throw those 2 starts out, although mathematically you can't. Keep that in mind.
Forgot about the pitch tipping thing. Yeah, that's my buddy Corby tweeted about that, and that's a great point. It is so incredible that like that's how good these dudes are. That the slightest tip of a pitch will cause a guy that is usually goes 6 innings of like quality start to give up 20 runs across 2 outings. I'm more
Let me just make
inclined.
a quick comment.
Go
Sorry,
ahead,
but
TB.
these
Go ahead.
baseball hitters are amazing. I mean, 100-mile-an-hour fastball with life on it that moves like 6 inches from top to bottom. If you and I went to a batting cage and tried to hit that, you would not be able to hit that in a year. These guys are amazing, man. Really amazing. And they do this every single day. This is their life, right? So yeah, I mean, they see a guy like just shrug his shoulder a little bit before he throws the ball. They're like, oh, fastball. I mean, that they're so good. So yeah, this is why baseball is so great.
I want to bring Chad's follow-up back in because I want to make sure it's clarified because he clarified it, and I think it's a very valid point. He said it has nothing to do with tipping pitches. It has everything to do with the fact he was a Marlin, and they know how he pitches. And again, Marlins have been slapping left-handed pitching. Both very good points. The Marlins have been very strong against left-handed pitching. I think the Marlins, this is Peter Bendix doing his thing down there. They become so much more of a sabermetric type team since he got there, and they've really done well with platooning guys at the big league level this year. Go back and look at what Matt Mervis did for the first 6 weeks of the season. I mean, they've sort of done a really good job at playing the numbers and platooning guys, and they've sort of grinded out really good results from some hitters that you wouldn't maybe expect that at the big league level. I guess my gut tells me like a locked-in Luzardo still gets this team. And then maybe the Phillies do some damage off Quantrill, but it also goes back. I lost the comment in the chat. People are saying maybe the over. Yeah, if you get something off Luzardo here, this game's probably going over. Can't really disagree with that. Sorry, what did one of you guys have your hand up for a follow-up there? My bad. I covered you. Oh, I half covered you with the paragraph that I put on the screen. I just realized that you guys are up to your chin in comment here on the screen right now. So yeah, Colin Gregory, Dane Myers has been awesome. Like I can't, I'm a Marlins guy. Like I love this team just like in where they're going. Chad says Luzardo being back was 3 hits, 3 walks, and 2 runs. I thought he pitched better than that against the Cubs. Did I read that wrong? I thought he had a run over 6 innings and 10 strikeouts. That's pretty back to me. Did I like? Is that what
I'll
his
take
line
a look at the game log. His last start was against the Cubs, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 10 strikeouts, no walks. That's pretty much back.
Dude, against that Cubs lineup, who just is really tough to strike out and has tremendous at bats. That's pretty good. But I'm not like going again. I'm not discounting what's being said there. I think all those points are very good. Not a game I'll probably be involved in, but I think a lot of good points being made. Right there. Andy Lang says hard as F to hit a baseball. That's what ended my baseball career. That ended my baseball career. I could pick it in the middle infield.
So hard.
You could put me at any middle infield, short, second, third. I could pick it all day long. Couldn't hit. And you can only, eventually they don't want, once as you get higher up, they don't care how good you are with the glove. If you can't hit, career's over. And
by the way, can I make a comment? Did you see Ohtani pitch last night? I mean, yes, he gave up a run, but man, did you see the movement on his balls, man? Just incredible athlete. Unbelievable.
Shows you what he could do if he was ever brought in as a reliever. Just one inning.
Exactly. Which is what they should do. Which is what they should make him the closer is what they should do. But anyways.
Think he touched 101 or topped out at 100 in that first inning, I think I saw.
I saw 101, I think. But man, the movement on his balls was just like, it was like a foot and a half. It was like, oh my God. It was like the ball. Did you see the ball he struck out Mike Trout with in the World Baseball Classic? That thing went all the way across the plate, midair. It was just unbelievable stuff. Anyways, okay.
Is the rule? What is the rule on that? Could he be the DH and then come into pitch or no? That's it. He could. So they theoretically could make him the closer in the playoffs if they wanted to. Like
theoretically they could. If he could be a starter, he can be a closer. Absolutely.
I didn't know
He
if
was
he
a
then had
starter
to come out of the
yesterday, and he
lineup.
batted.
Yeah, that's interesting. Why wouldn't they do that? If they're going to get one inning out of him, like, why not come playoff times? If you could put Ohtani out there for the 9th, why wouldn't you do it?
Because
That's
Dave Roberts is an idiot. He's the worst manager in MLB.
Oh, that's interesting to me. Well, yeah, we'll keep it going. Jose Perez says Giants. Giants bet the house tonight. Listen, we don't ever condone betting the house on one game on this show or on any show, and you should never do that. But I see where you're coming from. A lot of reasons to like the Giants. I'll go to Bryan Leonard first. Giants against your Cleveland Guardians. Do you agree with Jose?
Yeah, Shea Ciccone, 4.26 ERA, 5.87 expected, 134 whip. I have not been impressed. Cleveland brought him in. They thought they could correct some things. And his expected ERA, 4th percentile, average exit velocity first, barrel first, hard hit 7th. All the things that you don't want is what we're getting out of Shea Ciccone right now. Has not lived up to his reputation. 5.71 career ERA in 129 innings. I made Rays my example earlier today in a game where I thought, obviously the starting pitcher advantage was huge. And if you take a look at his numbers, he's got a 2.55 ERA, 2.83 expected, 1.12 whip. And that's the one thing you have to worry about with him is he will walk some people. He's in the 27th percentile in walk rate, hard hit rate, 21st percentile, 14th percentile in average exit velocity. So he can be hit. This is going to be a strange night for San Francisco here. They're back home and they've got their new prize Endeavors going tonight. Will that take away some of the game, more of an excitement? If you're a San Francisco Giants fan, you're probably loving this. I'm assuming it's a sellout tonight. They've always had pretty good crowds there. Big game for the fans, big game for the program. And after looking at this one, that's the only way I would play this one would be the San Francisco side or maybe San Francisco team total. We're looking at a 7 here, and that's because Cleveland is so bad versus lefties. But San Francisco should be able to get their team total in here, which I'm assuming is probably around the 4 range.
Just a quick comment on Ohtani. Starting pitching is like the most valuable commodity for teams. So if they have a pitcher who potentially can pitch 5 innings as a starter, they're going to use him as a starter because it's just so hard to find. So if Ohtani can pitch 5 innings, they're going to make him a starter. They're not going to make him a closer. But anyways, if they want to preserve his bat, you notice that when he pitches a lot, his bat tends to be less productive. But, that's why catchers don't hit as well as first basemen. So, because they work harder. So, anyways, that's just a little scouting thing. But anyways, regarding this game, Robbie Ray, one of the winningest pitchers in MLB. Again, though, Bryan and I have talked about this before. Winning record means pretty much nothing. But if you're 7-1, 8-1, it means that your team scores when you're pitching at least. It does mean that. So how do we approach this? I've never liked Ciccone. Every time I hear his name, Slade, I think, run, run away, see chameleon line. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, just pops into my head every time I see Slade. But anyways, never liked him. Again, I said on the last show, he's one of these guys who gives up a 6-burger and then comes and pitches a perfect game. So I just can't stand pitchers like that. You don't know what you're going to get from him. But I don't like his stuff. And I do like Robbie Ray's as long as he can keep this lasting. Both bullpens not performing well at all. Neither bullpen performing well at all. I have San Francisco's ranked 28 in current form, where I have Cleveland's ranked 23. So they're both kind of in bad shape. But to be honest, Robbie Ray's going pretty deep into games, and he's pitching quite well. I don't think the bullpen's going to be a factor here for the Giants. I got the Giants hitting 9, Cleveland hitting 26. So, yeah, I mean, the Giants have a huge advantage here. Can Robbie Ray keep it going is kind of the question. because I don't think he's as good as he's pitching right now, to be honest. Because he pitched for the Diamondbacks, he wasn't this good. He was always a strikeout guy who struggled with command. I don't know if he's going to keep it going. If he keeps it going, the Giants are a lock to win. But will he keep it going? That's the question. So, not sure.
It's not possible for me to be more all in on the Giants than I now am. Christian Carroll says San Francisco is way better. They were already low key nice. Yes, we talked about it. I've been talking about the Giants since April, thinking that they had a lot of depth and they cashed in on some of that depth. They didn't give anything up. I mean, everything they just shipped to Boston is expendable for that organization. They gave nothing up. They have 3 more Kyle Harrisons in AAA right now. They could live with. They have other relievers. They didn't need Hicks. The 2 other prospects they gave up were so early on that it's like whatever. Those are guys that you can give up, and they get a bat in Devers, which in my opinion makes their lineup. So yeah. Colin Gregory, the Giants will make the playoffs. I said you could take a flyer on the Giants to win this division back in April. They're going to be in the mix. Go ahead, Brian.
The wind is blowing straight out to center field tonight at 16 miles an hour also. So I think the Giants are going to get some runs in that one.
Listen, the Giants they're going to factor into the National League now. And the only reason this isn't like client play for me is because I do think the books have baked a premium a little bit into this number. I think they're sort of making you pay for Devers. Like, what do we got? What's a money line here, Brian? Because this will be my parlay league. So what is the money line?
I think it's minus 112 was what I.
Oh God, no. Giants, right? No. Giants is like minus 160.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's gotten bet down lately a little bit. Open 160, 135 is now I would say 150 with a total of 7 for the over.
Why is it coming
I'll tell you what, minus 150 is very playable in my opinion.
Why is it coming down? That doesn't make any sense. They're getting
only come down a couple cents. It hasn't moved much.
All right.
I mean, I think I probably won't, it's not going to be like something I'll put, bet straight at minus 150 or minus 155, but I will use it for the parlay. I think, especially with the fact that we've got a 3-teamer, we've got 2 other legs priced around like even money. No brainer here for me for the parlay. I just think the Giants are rounding into as complete of a team as you're going to find in baseball. Obviously, they're still a little, from a raw talent standpoint, you have to keep them below a team like the Dodgers, maybe a team like the Cubs, maybe the Yankees, but their bullpen's as good as it gets. Top 5 in like basically every bullpen metric. They have great starting pitching, and they just added a big bat. What is not to like about the Giants? I agree with you. Brian Leonard should have a sellout. They get a great crowd. And Slade. Oh, the other point I wanted to make, I got sidetracked there. Slade Ciccone is not going to be this good. I felt like he was like a failed. The Diamondbacks basically gave up on him. I didn't think the Guardians were going to get much out of him. And now he's going to go back to an NL West team that's seen him a ton right here. So now he's going to have to pitch in San Francisco. These guys have a pretty big sample against him for the most part. I think you got to like the Giants tonight. Go ahead, TB.
To everyone in the chat, at the risk of pissing off my 2 colleagues, this is perfect time to take a -1. You can knock 30 cents off the line, take the Giants, no risk if they win. Or if they lose, lose less money, and if they win, you win the same amount. So,
see, now this would be a scenario where, like, if you're talking, most places are at minus 155, minus 160, and you can get a -1 in like the minus 115, minus 120 range. That I think I'm okay with. But for a parlay, I would never use a -1 in a parlay. So that's like I said the other day, case by case basis. I felt like the books on that Scuba -1 were really making you pay a premium. But yeah, -1 here for a full game play, I don't have much of an issue with. Sorry, Brian, go ahead.
I'm just confused. If it's not good enough to play straight up, why would you play it in a parlay? It's the same thing.
Because you lose. No, for the parlay, I wouldn't do -1. I just do money line. But I'm saying if you're going to bet it as a single game, -1 is probably better because you lose less if you lose, and you win the same if you win.
What's the chat think about this? I'm a little confused. I think you're taking the same number, you're putting it in a different place. That's the problem a lot of people do when they're playing big favorites. Is got a 350 favorite and a 350 favorite. You put them together, you still got the 2 350 favorites. There's no advantage in that.
Yeah, I guess I understand what TB's saying a little bit. If you're
too. I'm just saying that both of you. I was surprised by Trig because he's a math guy like myself.
For me, I think it's like, okay, so like for example, like I just think if you're less risk adverse per play. Now for me, I would never play Giants -1. That's just not something I would play. I do it in minor league baseball for no reason other than you can get more down by betting the money line and the run line because it's harder to get down on minor league baseball. So I'll use the -1+1 when I'm betting AAA. Also, they give you a little bit better value on the splits because AAA totals are like 10, 11, 12. Get out to the PCL 13.5. I would not do it. I'm just saying, like, I understand like people that are a little bit more risk adverse per play, not wanting to lay -160. I guess I could stomach it more.
This is a different way to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah. My logic is -1. You know, if as long as your team wins, you don't lose your money. So this is the same logic that I use for why you have to bet, why you have to bunt with a guy on second base when the game.
We'll get to that in a future show.
Yeah. But it's all
guys,
about.
Let's wrap this up. I got places to be. I have hills to climb in Tokyo, but I like your outfit today. I think you look good.
All right, I'm going to close the show as we always do. We have a 3-team parlay. I'm going to read it off one more time. We hit yesterday. I got to calculate and see where we're at now. We're rolling pretty good after last week and then hitting yesterday's. I think we're approaching the high watermark of the season for parlay profit. And I know for a fact, if we hit this one, we will be over that. So without further ado, today's 3-teamer, we've got Tokyo Brandon. He's going Tigers team total under 4.5. That's a full game bet. They're all full game bets. Tigers team total under 4.5. We have Reds -118. And then I'll be trying to close it out with Giants -150. That parlay comes out to about 468, plus 460, plus 470 range. Of course, shop around and let's make it 2 for 2 to start the week. TB, appreciate you taking time out of your vacation to jump in and do the show.
Love it.
As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Please like and subscribe so we can keep running this show up and doing it 5 days a week. It's $5 Tuesday at WagerTalk. If you're so inclined, head over and check out what the three of us have. And we will see you back here 9 a.m. tomorrow morning for more Total Bases.